Hello, this is Cave Troll Moto, and we're back with another one. Started out today on the 2008 Ducati Hypermotard 1100S. S is for super fat guy because it's the one with the upgraded suspension, and I desperately need it. So, this is a little road, same road we took the Goldwing on last week, and got behind this car and really figured I'd end up passing him pretty quick, but as you can see, he picked up the pace considerably, and I was like, cool bro, we can vibe like this. So I'm giving him space, he's tearing through the corners. I mean, he's crossing lines on blind corners, probably not the best thing. He's doing a pretty good job though, getting through here. That went way over the line. That was a bit far. It's a thing. They do these things. Just thankfully nobody was coming, and they weren't going super duper fast. As you can see, I keep running up on him a little bit because when you're used to going a certain speed through a corner and then someone hits the brakes in the middle of it, it gets a bit different. You're definitely not grabbing the brakes mid-corner after not being on them. But man, it's just so pretty today. Was out here, gorgeous day, trying to get some sun, trying to get a little bit of a tan, trying to get some miles on the bike. Definitely watched for a little bit of gravel right there. Got a little close, but still, we're not going a high rate of speed through here. These are pretty slow twisties through here on a relatively commonly trafficked road with a lot of driveways and side roads that come off of it, so we tend to keep it a little more sedate going through here. We picked up pace through here a little bit, and the car didn't quite want to keep that pace, so I got a little close, giving him hands up, saying, that's my bad, I'm too close, I'm going to back off now. So backed off a little bit, toned it down, got around, and we ended up coming to a stop sign, not a light, and he went a different direction than I did, so this is just me tearing down the road. And as you will come to find out, today was a comedy of errors. Oh, there's my blinker on. When the phone is in the way, there's just not a lot of real estate up there by the time I get the GoPro and the phone up there, because phones are literally the size of laptop computers now. So, yep, I'm pretty sure I rode 2/3 of this day with the blinker on. Not even sorry about it. Section of road where it was literally a 15-minute stoplight. So you go across the river here, and I'm actually this is Knoll, Missouri, a little bitty town. There's actually another really main road where everything is. This isn't the whole of the town, but very small town, just right across into the Missouri border, and this is the start of one of my all-time favorite spots to ride. I don't know that I necessarily want to tell what it is, because if a bunch of people find out about it, it's going to get trafficked a lot more, and that could cause problems, because right now it's like my own personal little racetrack. So I pulled over and stopped, and I think the camera got bumped a little bit, because it definitely, things go awry from this point forward. But you just get out of here, it's all brand new pavement through this section, and it's so good. Tearing up the hill here. Elevation changes are just wild coming from the flat of West Texas, which is basically where I lived before I moved out here. Everything was flat, like there was no elevation. You could just see for miles. There were no corners though. No twisties. It was a good 4 hours before we could get to anything, and that was actually, we would leave Texas and go into New Mexico and go to the San Francisco mountains. To the closest town up there was a retirement town called Cloudcroft. You had a sister city called Ruidoso, which is where there was some gambling and stuff, and that's where the tourist town was. But yep, so as you can see, what I didn't take into account is I'm wearing a chest mount, or a body mount GoPro thing here, and so normal riding, you know, you can stay pretty upright, especially on the Hyper. But as you start to pick up the pace a little bit, you start leaning forward more and more. And guess what? The camera doesn't adjust. So there was a lot of footage that I went through of me staring at the triple trees on the bike. Well, a little alternative view here from the GoPro 5 Black. You know, it's definitely a little light cloud. You can even see the camera's pointed down as I go through here. Working on getting off the bike a little bit better, a little smoother, not trying to upset the bike as I go through. But, you know, the nice thing, I guess, about being a bigger guy is that when you put weight off the side of the bike, I don't know that you have to put as much weight off the bike as one of the lighter people do. You know, there's just more mass moved to the outside of the bike. But I don't know. Maybe I don't have the right of that. Guy broke down. That was a super sketchy place for him to break down because that's right after a blind corner. Thankfully, you know, he had the triangles out and he was off the side of the road, out of the way, so wasn't likely to get hit. But still, did not envy that dude whatsoever. And it's just, as you can see, it's all like this out here. It's just so good, you know, what you can see of it. Oh, look, there's my hand again, and the clutch, and there's my phone, and there's my other hand. Yeah, so super disappointing. I'm still working out some issues with mounting the GoPro and how to get good footage. So I think I've made a big stride in that department. I picked up a thing. I don't want to permanently mount the GoPro attachment to the helmet, and I definitely don't want a mic in helmet and have all of that stuff hanging off my helmet. It's just not worth it to me at this point. Maybe my mind will change at some point, but right now it's just not. So I picked up this strap-on mount. Yeah, lots of jokes to be had there. But it's a basically silicone backed Y that goes on the chin bar of your helmet and then has two elastic straps that connect to the top Y part that buckle in, and then it's built in with the GoPro mount type stuff. And it was $17 from Amazon, and I got it in a day and a half. So low price of entry to see if I can get a helmet view that's just going to be better footage. Like, it's going to be better framed, more, you know, because this, like what you're watching now, you can't tell where I'm going. You have no sense of speed. You just see that a car, you know, went by. You can't see how close it was. You can't see any of the scenery. Really, I just put it in there because I had almost an hour and a half of footage between the two cameras, and this was just the best of it. This was definitely the most work I ever put into editing a video, so that should tell you how crappy the majority of the footage is. This is a super sketchy. There's always gravel in it, and I don't understand why, other than there's a little bit of gravel off the side of the road there, but it's downhill, so it's not coming onto the road because of the rain. There's always gravel there. It's 15 miles an hour, and nobody ever brakes going into it until the very last second, and almost everybody runs wide. Cars, bikes, everybody I've seen go through there. Again, I pulled over, just kind of catch my breath, and check to make sure everything's okay. You know, it's a Ducati. It could fall apart at a moment's notice. I really should be that way. The Hyper Motard has been a super solid bike. I had a guy go through it that lives about 3 hours north of me here, who actually races an 848 Panigale. Super knowledgeable guy, and he went through the whole bike, front to back. When I picked it up, this bike was in rough shape. I mean, I probably shouldn't have test rode it level rough. It had knobby tires on it, which why you would ever put knobby tires on a Hyper Motard. That suspension is way too stiff to ever go off-road. and the chain was so rusted, the links were frozen up into like triangles, and it almost wouldn't roll. It was so just roached, just so bad, so bad. You know, and I can't really say I blame the kid. He was living in an apartment, and he like had the bike inside. He actually brought it out from inside his apartment, but he was a college kid, and you know, stuff gets tight. It's hard to spend money on stuff, but you know, definitely were some just little silly things. Like there were some bolts missing out of the license plate bracket. He said, the guy that went through it said there were a couple other missing bolts. It was missing a clip on one of the fairing pieces. You can see it because the camera's pointed down. Those little black plastic inside of the red fairing, those are individual pieces on each side. And one of those wasn't even on the bike. It had fallen off apparently. So the guy had the piece, thankfully, and so my buddy got the little bracketry thing that needed to hold it on there. Oh, also, funny thing, one of the things that me and the guy that went through the bike, Butch, noticed is that it seemed like the seat height was really low and approachable for this bike compared to ones we've been on in the past. I was always intimidated by the Hyper Motard because of how tall it is. I mean, it's like about a 33 3/4 inch seat height. I think roughly around there. Now I've got to look that up because if I don't, it will absolutely drive me insane. So, seat height, not a calculator. I know it's tall. Of 2008 Hyper Motard. Not the 950 or the 939. Let's see. Seat height is 33.2 inches. Let me see. What is the seat height of the Monster then? 2015 Monster 1200 S seat height. Seat removed. 31.9. So it's, you know, it's a good inch, just a little over an inch taller. But, you know, when you've got a 29-inch inseam like I do, every inch counts. Haha. That's what she said. But, yeah, so I was always intimidated by it because it is a super tall bike, but it is really narrow, and so it's easy to still touch down. But we both thought, man, this bike seems like it sits lower than other ones that we've been on. It's, you know, it was easier for us to both touch. This Butch is, like me, vertically challenged. Well, I started noticing that the seat would sag. It's got a solid, you know, like a dirt bike style seat. Goes the whole length as one seat pan. Oh, here's the video gets even better for y'all. You know, here's some nice view of the sky because I found out that the video camera was pointing down too much. The GoPro was pointing down. So I decided, well, I'll just point it up a whole lot. And it come to find out a whole lot was too much. And so the footage was bad, worse in some ways than it was. So again, a ton of footage that I just had to parse down to these really tiny clips that are actually usable. So again, I apologize about that. Videos hopefully will get better. But so I kind of got to doing some looking. There was a whole bracket missing from right in front of the tank that was supposed to hold up the seat pan. And it was letting the seat collapse another inch below where it should have been. So I was like, wow, this bike's really, you know, it's not bad. I can manage this. And then I actually got the bracket so that the seat wouldn't be sitting on the gas tank, the plastic gas tank. And, you know, because that seems like not a great thing, is to have all of my weight for miles bumping up and down on the plastic gas tank. So once I got that bracket in there, it definitely poked the seat up even higher, and it became a like dirt bike style, slide to one side and get one foot down, and you're not touching the other side. No, for me anyway. I did have a special guest this past Friday. Spite came in. His channel, I'll put the link to his channel, because if you don't know who Spite is and you're watching my stuff, that's just mind-boggling to me. But he came by, and he was able to flat foot the Hyper Motard, and I had a bit of a jealousy rage fit. It's just not fair. I tiptoe every bike I own, even the Goldwing that now has gone on to a new home. Maybe I'll tell that story, the whole story of how I won the Goldwing and the trip back, which was an adventure all on its own. Getting tattooed at Shade Tree Surgeon by Shade Tree Surgeon's friend, Abductuals, and the camp out, Forgotten Angels camp out down in Tampa that they do, which is a really cool thing. Forgotten Angels, they're doing a huge raffle now where they're giving away a house. Someone donated a house to them, which is just wild to me. So, but Forgotten Angels down there in Tampa, they take boys that age out of foster care that don't really have anywhere to go and help them build a tiny home on the property. And they all have to learn how to drive a stick shift and ride a motorcycle, which, you know, some people in other places may go, the motorcycle thing, that's a bit But you got to think, down in Florida, you can ride a bike year round. And a motorcycle is typically going to be cheaper transportation, both to put gas in it, to insure it, to purchase it, than a car would be. So while it's not the perfect long-term thing, it can definitely be a jumping off point for a lot of people starting out in their lives, especially those that are coming from that sort of circumstance. But this was a wild time. I ended up getting drenched through this last bit. This is connecting down. I'm back into Arkansas now, another undisclosed road, but you can see the cloud cover starts to get pretty thick here. And I got absolutely soaked. My stuff was wet for about 4 days. But that has been just some highlights of the riding. Not quite the same way I did it last time, but the way that I just had to piece stuff together just wasn't going to make any sort of cohesive stuff. So I just rambled the whole time. So if y'all enjoy that, stick around, because I'm sure I can continue to ramble about lots of other things. Until next time, I appreciate y'all watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to steal this from Shay Lisi. Hit the ding dong diddle. That's a good one. I always laugh when she says that. So, until the next one, y'all ride safe.